So, I don't think there has been a 2022 blockbuster more hyped than this one, and with good reason. The visuals look amazing, the director has a proven record, and the tone seems to be unlike anything we've ever seen in this franchise. So, how did it turn out? Well, right out of the gate, let me say this. It's a great movie, but hype responsibly. The Batman is a murder mystery slash thriller. The gist of this movie is Batman going around, investigating the clues left behind by the Riddler, and trying his damnedest to piece together the puzzle, all while his plans edge closer and closer to completion. An action movie this is not. And I'm not saying there's barely any action, because there is, and when it happens, it's very brutal, fist-to-fist type of stuff, and fucking love it. But I cannot deny that Warner Brothers might have oversold this part of the movie. This is first and foremost a thriller with explosions of action in between, so, as I said, adjust your expectations. But if you like this type of thing, if you craved for a detective story from this franchise, oh boy, you're gonna have a blast. The Batman is 3 hours long, but I was never bored. I might have felt the runtime here and there, but this movie always found a new theme, idea, or plot twist to keep me engaged. The way everything connects is very interesting, and it never strained believability. Gotham is also the best it's ever been, I think. It definitely never looked this dirty and broken. Greg Fraser's cinematography was pretty damn great. He composed this bleak, borderline dystopian city by juxtaposing a dirty, yellowish lighting against this never-ending number of dark corners and spots. I mean, just to have an idea, I left with the impression that at least for half the runtime, it was raining in Gotham. That's how grim it all felt, and for the story that's being told, it made perfect sense. Also, the score by Michael Giacchino, fucking A+. I miss the types of movie scores that actually feel like a character, being almost everywhere to drive the emotions home and flow together with the story as one. A lot of praise has been given to the main theme, which, if you're anything like me, you're gonna be leaving the theater and humming it for the next few hours like I did. But the whole thing is amazing, from Riddler's operatic motif to my favorite, which was Catwoman's theme and all its variations. There's this romantic-like waltz every time she and Batman share the screen that just amped up their chemistry. And since I'm talking about the two, let's jump to the characters. Soy Kravitz as Catwoman is great. She really did surprise me. It's a younger, more rugged version of Selina Kyle, and her dramatic arc is probably the best one after Bruce. Paul Dano as the Riddler, I mean, fuck yeah, he's been a really underrated actor for years, and I'm so glad to see him get a big role like this and just go batshit crazy with it. Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, amazing as well. This role is a tough one because Gary Oldman felt like the ultimate version of Gordon, but Wright manages to give him a fresh energy that fits this universe, and he's way more present here than in previous iterations, so that's good. Andy Serkis as Alfred, another amazing surprise. He's kinda the heart of this movie, to the point where one of my only complaints is that we needed more of him. Yeah, he doesn't have that many scenes, so don't go expecting him to be as present as Michael Caine, for example, was in the Nolan trilogy. Moving on to the next one, we have Colin Farrell as the Penguin. Also great, he's so ridiculous and brings some much needed levity to the proceedings. Also, John Turturro, happy to see him back on a big role. Falcone is a way bigger character than I originally anticipated, and as you probably noticed, I don't have complaints about the cast. This is probably one of the strongest ensembles in a blockbuster, in a good while. And of course, Batman himself. Robert Pattinson is really good, but his performance is easily the quietest of all the previous versions, and I don't know how this is gonna translate to the general public. Both his Bruce Wayne and Batman are stoic, quiet characters, and I appreciated that they went hard on making Bruce kind of a weirdo. When you start to think about a man dressing as a bat and acting as a vigilante, you would guess that he's not well mentally, and I don't know, it makes sense, it feels realistic, and I like that. Pattinson's performance is way more subtle. It's a younger, angrier version of Bruce, and there's a lot more nuance and pain hidden behind his eyes. I think the fans and the cinephiles are really gonna enjoy it, but as I said, I don't know how the general public is gonna feel about it. His emotional arc here is really great and really snuck up on me by the end. I've seen some critics say that this movie gets too sentimental at times, and I totally disagree, because without the sentimentality, this film would be incredibly dour and lifeless. If I have any issues, they would be more like nitpicks, like some damage that Batman, even considering his bat armor, sustains and survives, and there's another silly one involving Catwoman, but it's a spoiler, so I'll leave it at that. I did feel the runtime in some moments, and I think the ending could have used a better final shot or final sequence. I've seen some people say the third act loses a bit of momentum, but I don't exactly agree. The final battle is big and bold, but it's pretty interesting and different from what you would expect to see in a comic book movie, so who knows what will be the consensus on this part. And finally, if I can add any extra thoughts, I just want to kind of repeat what I said before. Tread carefully. It's possible you're not gonna leave the theater on a high, super crazy and ecstatic. Spider-Man No Way Home, this is not. But it's as you let it simmer and take your time to process it, you then realize, oh, this was fucking amazing. I think more than any comic book from recent years, The Batman would definitely benefit from a rewatch, to unpack it and catch the nuances you might have missed the first time. So, take it from me, go watch it, even if you're not a fan of comic book movies, because this is very different from almost anything I've seen from Marvel and DC. It's bleak, dark, at times very contemplative, and yet strangely hopeful as well. It definitely warrants being seen on the biggest screen possible. And yeah, that's what's up. If you enjoyed this review, like, subscribe, yeah, you know how it goes. This is Pretentious Writer. See you next time.